On the planet Vegeta, a child with his level of fighting completely null has been born, so he'd be considered low class. On that planet, he was not able to stay since the Saiyans were warriors who specialized in buying and selling planets. But for this elite, warriors were required, and a baby without any trace of energy would not serve for absolutely nothing. However, for his parents, it was a blessing, although the Saiyan named Bardock and Kakarot's father would realize that Frieza had a malicious plan.
Gine, we better send Kakarot towards planet Earth, since apparently Vegeta will be attacking Frieza. I can feel it.
What crazy things are you saying? We can't send Kakarot to another planet. He's just a baby, and being low class, he won't be able to defend himself.
If my hunch really fails, I'll personally go pick up Kakarot, since I don't want to leave him either. I want to train him to become more powerful, but we can't risk it. If Frieza plots something, I won't be able to defend him.
You know, Bardock, despite being a Saiyan who conquers planets, I can tell you're an excellent father. And it's okay, we'll do what you say.
That same night, Bardock was able to steal a ship in which they would send Kakarot to planet Earth, while Bardock and Gine watched their son's ship move away across the infinite space. On the other hand, while Kakarot would continue traveling at high speed, however, throughout Multiverse 7, beings in the form of balloons were in charge of uniting the demonic world with the outside world. And by a failure in Kakarot's ship, or rather the law of attraction, was able to absorb Kakarot, which, after the passage of several days all over the place, he was able to fall on the outskirts of a large castle. That's right, that place was divided into three, which were known as the third, second, and first demon world. In the castle that Kakarot had fallen, it had been the first demon world, the most powerful among the three. On the other hand, of the castle, a warrior would come out, realizing that a small baby from the outside world had fallen into the first demon world.
Wow, but if he's a being from the outside world, but how was he able to get into this place? That must be practically impossible because he has to get through the warp-sama.
The cries of the little boy would alert the police of the first demonic world, so Degesu would quickly take him with him. That's right, without anyone else knowing, he would begin to raise the little boy, because in that place the powerful Dabura reigned, which would not allow absolutely anything, and being the Demon King, he had the power to even end Kakarot's life if he wished. So Degesu, in one of the different alternate lines of his room, had been able to raise Kakarot. It had been several years since the arrival of Kakarot. However, at this time, the Demon King Dabura had disappeared, being summoned by a very powerful magician who was even able to put him to work for him. So at this time, he had decided on a new Demon King, being Goma, who would take his place, but his right hand was Degesu, so Kakarot from now on no longer needed to be hidden in Degesu's room.
I can finally meet the first demon world. This'll be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to fight with someone else.
No, Kakarot, no! Because if the villagers realize that you belong to the outside world, it doesn't matter that the big Goma protects you. A big revolution will be put together. Ha 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 ha! Don't worry, Degesu. Although I look like an evil being, I don't plan to let the children of this place get hurt. And since his birth, he has arrived here. So he is likely a baby of the demonic world.
Kakarot had gotten the permission to start exploiting the different worlds that existed in the demonic kingdom. On the other hand, on the outside, Bardock's feeling had been correct, since Frieza was able to destroy planet Earth. So after several years had passed, Kakarot's older brother Raditz had gone also to planet Earth in order to ask them to join him, so that the conquest of planets becomes much easier. However, by the time he had reached planet Earth, he would realize how everything was destroyed in its wake.
Apparently the useless one from Kakarot after all has been able to conquer this planet. I'm surprised, but I'll have to recruit him.
Raditz, with the help of his tracker, would go to where he perceived the most powerful energy on the whole planet, thinking that it was his brothers. But at the moment he arrived, he was surprised to realize that it was from an Namekian.
Apparently I've had too many expectations of Kakarot. But after all, he was not considerate or low class, so this capable Namekian that I ended his life. I don't know who you are talking about, but this very moment I'm thinking of finishing you. I thought I'd already finished with all the warriors on this planet.
Piccolo had thrown himself against Raditz. However, each of his blows was not capable of doing the slightest damage to Raditz. Piccolo had noticed this while he was trying to hurt him in the same way, being to fill an incredible panic. So Raditz, charging a little of his energy, was able to pulverize Piccolo.
That guy was nothing but a weakling. If Kakarot's defeated by that guy, it's better that he died, since he was with us wouldn't have been able to survive.
Raditz would rise to the atmosphere of the planet, and with a great attack he was able to destroy the entire planet in its entirety, leaving it where he was with his other companions were. On the other hand, returning to the demonic kingdom, Kakarot had been able to face several policemen, being considered someone from the outside world. However, every time Kakarot got into trouble, he always returned to his castle to hide, until one day Goma would speak publicly to the whole demonic kingdom.
Well, I've gotten tired of hiding it. 12 years ago, a ship from the outside world arrived at the palace. So defenseless child arrived, and we raised him between Degesu and me. If you have something to say it now, since you also have children.
A great silence had invaded the whole demonic kingdom. On the other hand, since that day, Kakarot was able to move around the whole kingdom without any problem. One day, Degesu, along with Kakarot, had left for some mountains in order to explore new areas. However, Kakarot would leave for a small store where he would buy a few treats. And when he returned, he would notice how Degesu was very badly injured, while next to him, a large minotaur was watching to Kakarot.
That Goma must be crazy to let a being from the outside world live among us. I can't allow that. At this moment, they will both die.
Kakarot, feeling an incredible anger, he would begin to expel an incredible power. Such was the power that this time the whole demonic kingdom would begin to tremble, while his hair would begin to turn a yellowish color. While rays came out of all his aura, at the moment of a great scream, Kakarot had transformed. And with a great anger, he had rushed against him, being able to knock him down without any difficulty. But at the moment of approaching towards Degesu, his body was expelling too much blood, for what Kakarot would quickly hold him, starting to fly towards the palace. Goma was surprised by the new appearance of Kakarot, but it was not the time, so instantly Goma would request the urgent presence of Arinisu. Instantly, a woman similar to Degesu would appear, but before saying at least one word, he would realize that his brother was on the verge of death.
I don't know what happened to you, but don't let yourself die.
Arinisu, being a great scientist in the whole demonic kingdom, was able to heal each of his wounds. Since apart from being a scientist, she was able to perform potions, so she was able to stabilize him. This time, he just needed a little rest more.
I really appreciate her, Nisu. If it wasn't for you, Degesu would have died.
Don't worry, Goma-sama. I'm here to serve you, but I'm not going to let my dear brother die.
At that moment, they would observe how Kakarot had golden hair, but the instant they were about to ask him something, Kakarot would fall to the ground out of combat, since his body wasn't able to withstand all that power. After several days had passed in which Degesu had woken up, would be informed of everything that had happened. While Kakarot was still knocked out of combat, while every part of his body began to couple to the new power that he had unlocked.
So Kakarot's able to unlock a new power by seeing me seriously injured. I can tell that Kakarot really sees me as his father. We have raised him since Kakarot's a baby. Of course you look like his father, and much more you since you are the one who rescued him. He only returned the favor. I hope Kakarot's ready to be recovered to continue exploring new places.
3 more days had already passed, quickly, in which Kakarot was able to wake up completely, being greeted by Degesu, just like Goma, but Goma would take a much more serious stance heading towards Kakarot.
I, as the king of the demonic world, I order you to train much more. And I'll get you warriors and beings of great powers, so that you'll be able to defeat them.
For me, that would be not an order, since what I like the most is to become much more powerful. I want to be the next most powerful Demon King.
In that case, we'll start with your new training from today.
Several soldiers had come to the combat area, in which Kakarot's abilities would be measured by both of his masters. But these warriors were extremely weak for Kakarot, since he was able to defeat them without any difficulty. However, what Kakarot did not have was that the warriors were elite soldiers from all over the demonic kingdom.
There's no doubt that we don't know which race he belongs to, but I'm sure Kakarot's origin is of an incredible warrior race, as he adapts in an incredible way. In that case, I have the perfect opponent for you, and for you to be able to become much more powerful and get even one wish at a time.
Goma was surprised since only he was able to understand the reference that Degesu had said.
Degesu, are you giving me to understand that you want Kakarot to face the Tagami? That's crazy. No one's able to beat him.
What? What are Tagami? That just makes me a lot more curious. I want to fight them.
Goma-sama, don't worry. I'm sure Kakarot won't die. Even he, the Tagami, are forbidden to end the life of their opponents, as they're the only guardians of the Dragon Balls of the demonic world. I don't know, but I feel like it's a lousy idea. But if you know Kakarot's potential, that's fine. I'll trust you. But if something happens to Kakarot, I'm planning to finish you. The mighty Goma-sama's apparently worried about someone else. This is amazing. But don't worry, I'm sure of Kakarot's potential. I know you won't be able to beat him at first, but it'll be the most difficult training of the demonic kingdom. In that case, go! But start with the weakest Tagami of all.
Both of them had left the first demonic world, so they are gone in the third demonic world, in which they are able to observe a metal warrior. Although they did not look very imposing, when Kakarot approached, he was able to create a giant sonic wave that was able to break Kakarot's eardrums, since some blood had come out of his ears.
This is the first opponent to teach Kakarot defeat, as he is able to beat every warrior we've put in front of him.
Kakarot, despite having received a little damage, without having started the combat, would prostrate himself in front of the Tagami, who would immediately stare at him.
But if you're as simple a child, this will be much easier than I thought. I hope you'll help me to stretch my muscles.
Instantly, both warriors began to move all over the battlefield. Although the battle seemed a little even, the Tagami was holding back too much. While, for his part, Kakarot was using every last drop of his energy. That's right, this time the difference in their powers was very evident, since Tagami without any effort was able to keep up with Kakarot. While for his part, Kakarot in each exchange of blows, he was very badly injured.
You never thought that a single warrior is capable of punishing me so much. This is crazy. His blows hurt too much. You don't know I have this necessary power to stand up to me. You'd better come back next time. What did you say? I'm not there yet.
Before Kakarot was able to finish his sentence, a big hammer by his side was able to knock him out of combat. So Degesu would approach to leave for the castle, in which again they would wait for his recovery. Degesu would help Kakarot to return to the castle of the Great Demon King, so that he would be able to recover. So instantly Degesu would leave to his king Goma, informing him of the whole situation with Kakarot. Kakarot's ego is very high. Despite being a child, he's been able to beat even the elite police of our kingdom, so I knew he wouldn't stand a chance against the Tagami. But my lord, before Kakarot became unconscious, I was able to notice that his gaze this time radiated a desire for struggle that I'd never seen before. Before the two warriors are able to say anything, Arinisu, Degesu's sister, would approach all over the palace corridor, leaving both of them surprised. Arisinu, what are you doing here? I thought you were in your lab. Do I have to ask permission to go outside for some air? But it is interesting that the power of the little Kakarot has grown in such an exuberant way. What do you mean? You know something? So you better talk, because I'm not gonna repeat it to you one more time. You are correct, Goma-sama. I have been researching the origins of the little Kakarot, and the fact that he is able to have all these great reserves of energy is because he originates from one of the most powerful races of all the 12 universes, the Saiyans. Both were surprised to realize that the little boy they had in their castle was one of the most powerful warriors of all the 12 universes. However, these warriors did not know the existence of the 12 universes. I understand that there are universes in this outside world, but I didn't know the exact number. That's right, in the same way there is the king of everything, as well as the angels and gods, who are the rulers of the entire outer world. But despite everything, the race of the Saiyans is one of the most outstanding of the 12 universes, so for that reason, I want to ask you a favor. No way. With that look of yours, I already know what kind of favor you want. So you better leave, because I'm not going to let you experiment with Kakarot. Oh, Mr. Goma, don't be so boring. If little Kakarot, being a little boy, is so powerful, he can't imagine the power he would be able to get if I experiment with him.
No, sister. We'll never allow that. That would be cruel. It's true we're cruel, but we can't give Kakarot to you. We've known him since he was born.
I'm sure that child will be the downfall of the whole demonic kingdom, since his power seems to have no limit. Hopefully they won't regret this. Arinisu would leave Goma Castle, so they'd both be a little thoughtful.
Degesu, do you think Kakarot will be able to turn against us? Arinisu's words have left me questioning everything that happened. From my perspective, that would be impossible, my lord. Since on that occasion, Kakarot even released an incredible power that even that Minotaur almost ended my life. So I doubt that Kakarot will be able to destroy us.
It's okay, Degesu. I trust you, so go and stay in Kakarot's care.
As you order, my lord. With your permission, I withdraw.
Degesu would leave towards the room in which he had left Kakarot. However, upon entering, he would be surprised realizing how Kakarot was not in the place. Degesu, in panic, would ask all the police of the demonic world to locate Kakarot. So hundreds of soldiers would begin to move until they were able to have some clue about Kakarot. While for his part, Kakarot had been able to wake up, leaving to train in the second demonic world. In the Who had several acquaintances who had wished to improve the defense, Kakarot being the ideal warrior.
Oh, but if you're a little Kakarot, tell me what brings you here. This is the second demonic world. Do you want me to contact Goma?
Not at all. I'd like to have a confrontation with all your elite soldiers. I want to train, and I know that you want to reinforce your army.
Ho ho ho! This is indeed excellent news. Of course, if in that case, I'll organize the entire platform so you're able to have a worthy training.
After a few minutes, the platform was full of hundreds of warriors all over the place. So Kakarot, without any detour, would go down to face each of them, so instantly each of the warriors would throw themselves against Kakarot, who without the difficulty would be able to eliminate them one by one, which would leave the king of the second demonic world very surprised.
Wow! That's amazing, Kakarot. I'll be improving my defense a lot more, and I hope you keep visiting these worlds.
Of course, my king, and thank you very much for the hospitality. It's helped me a lot with these trainings. I'm leaving.
While Kakarot was walking around the place, he was very thoughtful, remembering his battle against the Tagami.
It's time. I don't plan to stay with this defeat. Right now, I'm leaving to face that junk again.
Kakarot had headed towards the third demonic world with his great power, being able to arrive again in front of the Tagami, so when he was able to face the Tagami would recognize him immediately, knowing that he was the boy with whom he had fought 2 days ago.
What are you doing here again? Do you want to die this time? I'll have no mercy, since the last time when we were knocked out of combat, we had to end the combat. No, at this moment, I'm ready to beat you, so fight with me again. I want the Dragon Ball. In that case, get ready. I plan to finish you like the last time.
Instantly, the entire battlefield would become tense. At the moment, a small breeze of air was able to move a small leaf, so instantly the fight would begin. That's right, the incredible combat this time would be felt by the three demonic worlds. Even strong tremors would reach Gohan's place, which would realize one of the Tagami had begun to fight.
Degesu, this is bad. Kakarot has apparently faced the demonic third world Tagami again, so go ahead, don't let him die.
Degesu, without answering anything, would quickly leave, so when he arrived, he was surprised to realize that multiple people were watching the great battle. Degesu, when observing the battle, was surprised because on this occasion, the power of Kakarot had been able to increase in an incredible way, being able to start cornering the Tagami, which at the moment would fall to the ground a little surprised.
What has he done? It's only been 2 days since our last match. He couldn't improve that much in that such short period of time.
The Tagami, with his great mental power, was able to control his incredible hammer, being able to immobilize him to where Kakarot was, which instantly, with all his power, would try to repel him, but it was impossible. However, Kakarot was able to observe Degesu again, who was very worried about his well-being.
No, not this time! Degesu's watching me for the second time. I'm not gonna lose, so destroy your hammer!
Kakarot's hair would begin to turn a golden color, while the tremors became much more powerful throughout the demonic realms. Degesu was surprised to realize how Kakarot's power would begin to increase in an unreal way, just as his hair would begin to change to a shiny golden, similar to the last time he had saved his life in the Minotaurs.
Has Kakarot been able to master all that power? The power he exudes is incredible. Even I'm not able to comprehend it.
Kakarot's incredible aura would grow throughout the entire third demonic world, with which even his power would become much greater. So instantly, Kakarot would begin to move towards the Tamagami, resuming his great battle. However, on this occasion, Kakarot would begin to corner the Tamagami more and more, because his blows would increase more powerfully, being able to make the Tamagami eat dirt, which at this moment would take a little space, starting to carry an incredible attack.
In this attack, I put all of my power, so you better have the necessary power to stop it. If that's your final attack, I have to respond in kind, so I plan to reciprocate your attack in kind with a powerful attack of mine.
Kakarot would begin to gather energy in the palm of his hands, techniques that Degesu had learned in the outside world, teaching it to Kakarot later, so both warriors began to channel all their maximum energy into their attack. Instantly, their attacks were charged to the max. Both warriors had been able to throw their attacks. The clash of powers was incredible, so much that hundreds of rays were scattered all over the battlefield. However, a powerful barrier of the two remaining Tamagami would be able to protect everyone present.
I don't plan to lose to a simple child. This is my maximum power.
The Tamagami would expel all his power. However, Kakarot would not be left behind, starting to inject more and more energy towards his attack, both powers being colliding for about 3 minutes. Kakarot, furious, would increase his power much more, even compromising several of his bones, which were destroyed by the excess energy. But he was able to win the energy shock, so the Tamagami would be dragged down a few mountains. However, the Tamagami with his maximum effort was able to throw that great attack towards the heaven. But Kakarot, without wasting the opportunity, was able to connect an incredible blow in the stomach of the Tamagami, which on this occasion would make him fall to the ground very badly injured. Kakarot would take distance, putting himself in a battle pose.
What do you think of that? Can't you go on anymore? This is incredible. Even I'm not able to believe it. But if I give up, I can realize that I'm not able to defeat you. Your power this time exceeds mine.
Kakarot would return to his base state a little confused.
This means that I've been able to defeat one of the 3 most powerful warriors of the demonic kingdom. And I have to be able to win the Dragon Ball. You are right. You've been able to beat me, but there is still one last test for you to be able to win the Dragon Ball.
Tamagami would create a small table in which he was able to hide the sphere in 3 glasses. Kakarot had to guess in which one it was. However, the Tamagami with a great speed would move them, and at the moment he would ask,
"Where is the sphere located?"
Kakarot would point to the side, which was where the Tamagami had hidden the sphere.
You really are an extremely weird kid, but this time you have completely defeated me, so the sphere is completely yours. Thank you very much, and sorry for all the words I've had to say to you. Only anger's blinded me. I ask for an apology. Don't worry. You likewise excuse me. I don't know where we're so powerful.
Kakarot, along with Degesu, would leave for the castle for the first demonic kingdom. At the moment of arriving, Goma was very upset by Kakarot's imprudence.
You can't do something like that. If you haven't been able to master all that power, you wouldn't have been able to do anything against Tamagami. But I congratulate you, Kakarot.
I'm sorry, but I wish to be able to turn to the Dragon Balls, so that we'll be able to fulfill our wish.
Yes, Kakarot, we trust you, but it'll be better that you rest for now, and that you're able to master all that power completely, since you're only able to use it in critical moments, and therefore the energy drain is incredible.
I understand, Degesu. Don't worry, it won't happen again. I promise that I'll be able to become much more powerful, and that I'll master all this power.
Kakarot would leave for part of the castle to continue with his great training. Meanwhile, Arinesu was in the house of a powerful witch, which had been able to create a powerful warrior, which had even been able to cause a little battle to the so-called gods of destruction.
I know better than anyone that you are the creator of the powerful demon named Majin Buu. So I ask you, help me create an equally powerful demon. You are right. I've been the creator, but I didn't want to get into trouble. That's why I've kept my identity secret, although I don't know how you've been able to find out.
Like you, I'm also a scientist, but I don't have many of your qualities. For the same reason, I turn to your help.
Okay, I'll help you create the new Majin Buu.
both scientists began with their plans to create a new warrior, which is equally powerful to even be able to defeat Goma. On the other hand, the Demon King Goma was in search of the legendary Third Eye, which was in the regulation for which the Demon Kings, but several centuries ago, had been lost. The Third Eye was able to grant its bearer an incredible power.
I've been able to find the demonic Third Eye. I feel that something very dangerous is about to happen. We must become much more powerful.
While Kakarot, on the other hand, was training, unaware of the danger that was approaching the entire demonic kingdom. In the demonic world, a great revolution would begin to take place on the part of Arinisu, because she wanted to be the queen of all the demonic worlds. But no one had ever been able to defeat any Tamagami. For that very reason, she knew that she had no choice but to face Kakarot. If we have to create a new Majin Buu, we will do it, as we cannot allow a being from the outside to become the new Demon King.
I understand how you feel, but in the same way, creating a Majin Buu is extremely complex, and I cannot guarantee that I'll obey you in everything.
Don't worry, we'll see how we train him. But for the time being, please create a new Majin Buu. I trust you. I don't know why you want a new Majin Buu, but it's okay, we'll start right now. So please, accompany me both to the outside. Both had gone to the outside, in which that powerful witch would begin to create the powerful Majin Buu. So after a few minutes, a large mass of energy would grow all over the place, so it would immediately begin to condense. But to everyone's surprise, he was a warrior, which at first glance seemed to have a great fighting ability, because his build was thin, having great flexibility. Wow, this is amazing! This is my own Majin Buu, and the first mission I'm going to give you is to be able to beat that #1 Tamagami.
Hey, no, that's too fast. We have to put its skills to the first test, as a Tamagami is very powerful.
No, the original Majin Buu would be able to defeat the Tamagami in one fell swoop, if he was even able to put warriors at the level of a god of destruction in trouble. The new Majin Buu had headed towards the platform where the Tamagami #1 was, so he would instantly challenge him to a fight which the Tamagami would accept, while Arinisu was a spectator, thinking that his Majin Buu would take the victory. Meanwhile, Kakarot had been able to become much more powerful, being able to even reach the level 2 of the Super Saiyan, with which his aura was able to radiate multiple rays of energy.
Wow, this power I got's amazing! I'm sure with this new power I'll be able to beat the 2 remaining Tamagami.
Kakarot would start walking all over the castle in search of Degesu, but it would be impossible for him to find him, so he would instantly bump into Goma.
Goma, can you please tell me where Degesu is? I've been looking since morning and I'm not able to find him, much less feel his energy.
That's because Degesu has been going through every demon world in search of the demon's third eye. So don't worry, he'll be late. But tell me, how can I help you, my little Kakarot?
Wow! Is that the demonic third eye?
I can tell you're very curious. I'll explain. The third demonic eye is due to the power of that Demon King is able to achieve. But hundreds of years ago, the third eye was stolen, so it's not possible to use that incredible power again.
Wow, I really didn't know that. That means that if you're able to get a hold of the demonic third eye, you'll be able to release much more of its destructive power.
You're right, Kakarot.
That only gives me one more motivation to become more powerful. I want to be equal to much more power than you, Goma-sama.
Kakarot would leave with great enthusiasm to fight with Tamagami #2. While Goma would stare at him and gaze his represented the prize he had with Kakarot.
My little Kakarot, your power surpassed all of us in the 3 demonic worlds. If you want to rule all this, it wouldn't be complicated for you.
On the other hand, with the Battle of Majin Buu and the Tamagami #1, this incredible would start. However, although the speed of Majin Buu was good, his blows were extremely weak, since they weren't able to arise any effect against the Tamagami #1. And this was also because he was the most powerful Tamagami of all. Arinisu was a little surprised. She did not know that the Tamagami would be so powerful, or that her Majin Buu had been created with an extremely low. After a few minutes in which the Tamagami would start to have the advantage, Majin Buu would give up. For his part, Kakarot had been able to reach the island where the Tamagami number 2 was located.
Wow, you look much more powerful than the previous Tamagami. This will be interesting.
But if you're a kid, you better leave if you don't want to die.
That's what Tamagami number 3 told me, and he's been defeated. I was even able to get his Dragon Ball.
I doubt very much what you're telling me, since it is impossible for a simple child like you to be able to beat one of us. But I'll check it right now.
The Tamagami would try to communicate mentally with the Tamagami number 3, being useless since, despite still being alive, his communication was given through the Dragon Sphere.
Someone has really been able to beat him, but I can't believe that he was defeated by a simple child. In that case, I don't plan to trust you.
The Tamagami would get into a battle pose just like Kakarot. Since he did not want to use the Super Saiyan, he tried to defeat it simply with his base strength. At the moment, both warriors began to fight all over the Demon World number 3, so their battle would spread even throughout the sea of that world. However, with the power that Kakarot possessed at that time, it was extremely impossible for him to try to defeat the Tamagami number 2. So Kakarot would realize that his blows did not arise any effective. While the Tamagami would start to break through his defense much more often, Kakarot would be sent crashing to the ground, being dragged by a few mountains.
That hurt a little. Apparently with my base power, I'm not able to do anything against you. What do you think about this?
Instantly, Kakarot's hair would rise a little, while a few lightning bolts would scatter around his body. At the moment of a great scream, Kakarot was able to access the Super Saiyan, leaving his opponent surprised as his power had multiplied dozens of times.
This warrior was really able to beat the number 3 Tamagami, but with me it'll be totally different, of that I'm sure.
The Tamagami would take the battle much more seriously, but the difference in power was incredible, because Kakarot had been able to train this transformation all this time. So the energy drain had almost completely disappeared. Kakarot would begin to give him a beating, the Tamagami, which would try to do something against him, but it was completely impossible, since his power surpassed him by a lot. However, this furious Tamagami would expel the power of the Dragon Sphere, being able to get much more overwhelming, which forced Kakarot to step back a little.
I've never used this power before, so I hope you're ready, because in this form I'm not able to contain myself, and I can end your life with one blow.
That's what I'm waiting for. Come, I'm waiting for you.
The Tamagami would throw himself against Kakarot, but to his surprise, Kakarot was able to stop his great spear with one of his hands. However, several drops of blood would begin to slip down the spear, hinting that it would start to cost Kakarot a little. Instantly, their battle would resume quickly, in which they seemed to be much more even. But it was only momentary because on this occasion, the Tamagami was using all his power, while Kakarot, still there, was one more transformation left. The Tamagami would take advantage of an opening in Kakarot's defense, so with an incredible blow, he was able to send it flying, being able to create great chaos throughout the demonic world, just as mountains turned into simple dust and everything in its path was destroyed.
Damn, I hope that warrior was able to withstand that blow, as he really didn't want to end his life. He's a splendid warrior.
But out of all the incredible mess that had been created, a great light would start rising all over the place. Just like a great lightning would rise towards the top of the entire demon world, that's right, Kakarot had decided to access the Super Saiyan Phase 2.
You're amazing! I never thought that I would use my most powerful transformation to be able to face you, but now the real battle begins.
Do you still hide a lot more power? This will be a worthy battle.
Both immediately disappeared from the place, so both began to exchange hundreds of blows at a high speed. However, every time the Tamagami blocked Kakarot's blows, his arms were trembling due to the power that Kakarot was able to release. Instantly, the Tamagami would be thrown to the ground, while Kakarot would throw a powerful attack against Tamagami.
This is my last chance. I have to be able to dodge him and hit him with my minimum power to knock him out.
At the moment that the attack was a few centimeters from colliding with it, he was able to move at a flashing speed, appearing to one side of Kakarot. But at the moment that he would try to hit him, he was surprised, because Kakarot was able to stop his blow with only one of his hands.
I was able to see through your attack, so I knew he would try to hit me from my blind spot. But this time to end this.
The Tamagami, before being able to react, he had received an incredible blow to the stomach by Kakarot, which on this occasion was even able to knock him out of combat with a single blow.
Well, apparently I haven't been able to regulate my strength. It'd be better to take the Dragon Ball and leave towards the first demonic world.
Kakarot would take the Dragon Ball, but before leaving, he would start visiting the king of the second demonic world. For his part, Arinsu would arrive again with the witch, since this time the Majin Buu they created was completely useless. The powerful Majin Buu was said to be able to cause chaos and terror in all the 12 universes, but this useless one hasn't been able to even defeat a Tamagami.
I warned you that he was a very powerful warrior to be his first combat, but at this moment we believe in the Majin Buu, and we will use much more energy to make him more powerful.
It seems perfect to me. This Majin Buu has to be the perfect one, because otherwise I'll get angry. The Great Sorceress would start again with the formation of a new Majin Buu, but this time the amount of negative energy she was using was outrageous. So at the moment, a large mass of much larger energy would be formed, but instantly it would condense. It left everyone surprised because by its appearance, it seemed that it would be completely useless. That's right, the build of this Majin Buu seemed to not have the flexibility in combat that was needed, but at the moment that he expelled a little of his power, he was able to destroy everything in his step. It was not what I expected, but the destructive power he possesses is extremely incredible.
I hope this one works for you, because now with all the materials I had of the creation of the Majin Buus, I have been completely exhausted.
Yeah, don't worry, I am sure that we'll be able to do something. Arinsu would once again march towards the Tamagami number 1, giving him the order to fight against it. So the new Majin Buu would begin to approach the Tamagami, while the Tamagami would stare at him. I can't believe that this warrior is a warrior. I will defeat him with one blow. The Tamagami, with a quick movement, would prostrate himself in front of Majin Buu, but to the surprise of everything, he was able to dodge his blow with a quick movement, and was able to send him flying with a big headbutt. Wow, what was that? He was able to manage to hit the Tamagami? With the battle going on, Degesu was able to locate the demonic's third eye on an inhospitable planet of all the demonic worlds. So at the moment, he would quickly return to his king, but he was surprised to realize how his sister was with a warrior who was able to give battle to a Tamagami. This is bad. I'm sure Risu is able to look at all the power of the Dragon Balls to become the new queen of the demonic kingdom. Degesu would quickly return to Goma, giving him the demonic third eye. But while Goma was happy, Degesu would inform him everything that was happening. So instantly, Goma would give the order to close the connections between all the worlds. However, when Kakarot would try to return, it was impossible for him, since a powerful current was able to almost end his life. While for his part, Majin Buu was able to defeat the number 1 Tamagami, making Arinsu with the Dragon Ball, while Goma, upon realizing this, he will use his demonic third eye, beginning to raise his power in a monstrous way. Well guys, this is all for today's chapter. I hope you liked it and it was to your liking. Now don't forget to leave your powerful like, Supreme God level, comment and subscribe. Now without further ado, see you in a new video. Until next time.